Okay, just to get started, because I know someone will ask in regard to play calling. I am going to resume the play calling duties. This is not about Thomas. This is about me. It's about the team. I'm in the position I'm in because of years of offense, being a successful offensive coordinator and play caller. We have 8 games left, and I just want to give my attention and everything I can do and everything I can bring to bear to help the offense, take a next step. It'll still be collaborative. Thomas is still running the show as far as the offense and all the install meetings and game planning. He's still right at the center. He and I working together like we've been all year. So I trust Thomas more than anybody, and he's helped me become a better coach and a better man. So this isn't about that. This is about the team. This is about us all playing the role that we think can help us these last 8 games.
How difficult of a decision was this for you over the last few days?
I mean, it's a hard decision, but when you're the head coach, you always have to put the team first. You always have to, and what's best for the team, and so that's the guiding principle.
Frank, to flip-flop on this just 3 weeks after you gave it to Thomas, what does that say about, I guess, the direction of this program?
No, I understand, and I understand what's going to be said and how it may appear to some. Nothing I can do about that. As I've said from the beginning, the whole process is pretty collaborative anyway. And I guess the way I look at it, in this league, it's a game of inches. It's a game of, small increments. If you can find ways to get 1% better here, 1% better there, and if what if my experience, if I just won't be able to live with myself if I didn't bring every ounce of that to bear on these last 8 games. That's how I feel. I just want to, so that's where we're at.
Is any of this to do with, if, I'm not saying your job's in jeopardy, but if it is at the end of the year, you want to be the guy in charge of your future, your destiny?
No, listen, I've been given no, I don't know what, I've not been given any ultimatum like that, like you said, David. I mean, this is, and it's not, do we want to be in control of our own debt? Of course. This is about, if I have something that I can give to the team, I feel like I need to give it, and give it, Thomas and I doing it together. And some of it's just the mechanics of it with me putting it on and, putting the headset on and calling it. I'm very comfortable doing that. I know, obviously I was calling it earlier. We didn't have the success. So to the point that this isn't about Thomas like that. That's what I think is the right thing to do. That's more than anything, I just think it's the right thing to do.
Was there any consideration to give play calling duties potentially to Jim, who's done it before, or Parks?
No. That was not a consideration.
Can you clarify what Jim's role is as far as with the offense? Jim has been a tremendous asset to me personally. Be able to talk through every situation with him. He's in a lot of ways helping me oversee everything. He's sometimes he's in defensive meetings, sometimes he's in offensive meetings, and his years of experience and helping gauge and helping me gauge, what are the next steps that we need to take. Just talking stuff through with him, personnel stuff, coaching stuff, everything, philosophical, offense, defense. He's obviously a very wise coach, and so I pick his brain a lot.
Right. Did this ultimately come down to production? I mean, only 2 touchdowns, I think, in 12 quarters, right? Is this a result of that?
No, I wasn't looking at any stat. I didn't look at any. What were the yards per game or points? No, it wasn't any of that. It was just, it's just what I think is the right move.
Frank, given how collaborative you have shared and Thomas shared, the process has been, what factors do you believe will be different?
That's why, no, I'm glad you asked that question, because I know this will be made a big deal about, but, internally for us, because it is that collaborative, maybe there's only a 10% difference, you know what I mean, in the way the game gets called. The offense is the offense. We game plan together. But every play caller has their own personality. As I saw how Thomas called it, there were a lot of good things. There were a couple things he did that I wouldn't have done that were successful, that I learned from watching him do in just 3 games. And I would tell him that after every game, like he made a call, and I'm like, I never would have thought to make that call right there. And bam, it was a big play. That happened a couple times. So I think that's why, in one respect, it sounds like it's a big deal. I get it. I understand what will be said. In another respect, this is, hey, we're brothers working together on the same thing, trying to get the same thing accomplished. I'm the head coach. I got a lot of experience in it. This is what I feel like I do best. I know it hasn't been successful this year. I feel like I got a lot, there's a whole body of work that would say there's good things that can happen. And so that's what I'm going to try to do.
Frank, Calvin Throckmorton started 7 games for you, and he goes from being a starter to being waived. What went into that decision?
Hard decision. Throck did a good job as a veteran coming in here. Very dependable, very smart player. Chandler had been our starter, and he got injured. And we're developing young guys the whole time. And, hey, maybe you never know how this league works out. Throck could be back here, sooner rather than later. You never know how things go. But, love the contribution that he made and the person he is.
Frank, any concern on your part, given the respect you've said you've had for Thomas, that this could impact his career arc?
Yeah, no, I appreciate you asking that question, Joe, because this should have 0 impact on Thomas's career arc. It's a 3. First of all, anybody who knows Thomas knows he's brilliant, okay, and that he's a great leader, alpha male, fast on his feet. And so this is a 3-game sample size. I mean, on a team and on an offense that's been struggling. What was he supposed, was it supposed to be magic? His first time calling in 3 games, were we supposed to, so this will have little or no impact on Thomas's long-term trajectory. He's too good of a coach, person, the whole deal.
When did you make that final decision where you would take over the play calling again, and then how did you deliver that news to Thomas Brown?
A couple days ago, he and I sat down, I sat down a couple days after and just told him, hey, let's process through this. Let's talk about it. We talked about it a little bit. And then I don't remember exactly, when it was, but I talked to him obviously first. And then I said, hey, because we played on a Thursday night, I said, let me sleep on, this is what I'm thinking, but I'm going to sleep on it for a day or 2, because I just want to make sure. And, I expressed to him how much love and respect I have for him. And, I understand all the other dynamics. So, and how he would feel me saying that to him, because obviously he's an extreme competitor and he wants to win and he wants to fight. He wants to be at the center of the fight. So he's going to have plenty of opportunities. His career trajectory is nothing but up.
If you say that he wasn't going to be able to do magic, then why did you give it to him in the first place?
Because I've always had this vision that, when I came here, like I mentioned to you guys the first place, that even though it's always been in my blood to be a play caller, that in this second time around, there's many successful coaches who don't call it. And I've talked to those coaches about what that experience is like, to be able to manage other things and devote more energy to other places. And, and I said, I need to try that. I need to try that. Mr. Tepper was on board. I told him what I was going to do, and he was on board with that. He certainly understands and appreciated that model. And as I said, I always thought it would be when it was with Thomas. I thought, hey, just because of how smart and how good he was and the impression he made on me and our staff and our players, I thought I'll do it during the bye. But before the season, I might have thought, well, might be a year, might take a year. So, yeah, that's where it's all at.
Frank, do you anticipate any other starting lineup changes offensively, defensively?
No, we'll see how things play out this week with the injuries. Obviously, with Rock not being there, Chandler stepping in, but besides that, not anticipating anything.
So to clarify, Chandler will start at left guard.
Yeah.
You've had a couple more days to look at the Cowboys' offense and just kind of what Dak Prescott's been able to do the last couple of weeks. What's really jumping out to you right now?
Yeah, I mean, they are hot on offense. He's extremely effective in the pocket, out of the pocket. Obviously, C.D. Lamb is a big-time playmaker. They're, having success running and throwing it. I've always personally, I had a real high grade on Dak when he was coming out. Like, we were looking at, I was on a team that was looking for a quarterback that year. When Dak came out, I had a very high grade on Dak Prescott, higher than a lot of other people. And so I've always followed his career closely, and I have a lot of respect for him, and I think he's playing really good football right now.
Frank, it seemed like there was a concerted effort by leadership to watch the trench drills today. Just how big of an emphasis this week will it be on improving both areas of the trenches?
Yeah, I mean, that's where you win and lose games. For us on offense, this front we're playing is pretty dynamic. Obviously Micah Parsons is a unique player. Lawrence is still playing at a really high level. Fowler, the whole crew. Protection is an emphasis all the time, especially this week against one of the better pass rushes, and then defensively, if you're going to slow down an offense like this, it's got to start up front. And we got to do a good job of stopping the run up front and affecting the quarterback.
Quite a few guys returning today, Dante, JC, not Dante, excuse me, JC, Ian, and then also Brian and CJ, your outlook on them?
Very positive. JC will take it day by day here, but the other guys feel very positive about Brian and CJ and Ian. And then, with JC, we'll see how, obviously this is his first week back, so we'll see how he progresses this week.
We spoke with Hayden Hurst after the game the other day. He didn't leave the game. What can you tell us about the concussion protocol and what his outlook is?
Sometimes, most concussions, listen, I'm not an expert, but generally speaking, most times the symptoms rear their heads up pretty quickly. Every now and then it comes a day later. And I think that's what happened with Hayden. And so, we're just going to follow the protocol. The outlook is really just follow the protocol. It's just some guys progress through it very quickly. Other guys, it takes a little bit longer. So we'll just follow the steps.
Frank, what did you learn stepping back and not being the play caller these last 3 weeks, and what do you think you might do a little bit differently moving forward because of that?
I just continue to think, right, as coaches, we have to do the best job we can to put the players in position to win. And then, there's 5 or 6 plays every game, that we got to make. We got to make those plays, as players and coaches. Got to make the right call, got to make the right play, the block, the catch, the call, whatever it is. When you sit back and you look at the game and you say, there's those 5 or 6 plays. We got to make 2 or 3 of those. Those are the ones that really make the difference in the game. So, we practice in a way. We're talking about those kind of plays, trying to put ourselves in those positions out in the practice field, and look forward for those showing up on Sunday.